Hi, this is Zach here with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Monday, the 23rd of September. Starting with the FTSE 100, which is struggling to hold that uptrend line there from back in January. You can see that we've had a failure at the 50-day line, 82.43, and an end-of-day close back below the line around 82.20, and we're looking for not only retesting the support area of this month so far around 81.65, but also heading as low as the floor of that falling trend channel from May, around 80.20, just above the 50-day, the 200-day moving average. The other negative at the moment is that we've had a double failure for the RSI in the upper 50s, which is normally one of the worst signals you can have because it indicates a bull trap, and basically we've already got the RSI back below neutral 50 at 46. That's also on an uptrend line there from last month, and so anything basically below 82.20 looks as though it could drag this market down. On the upside, the minimum required is an end-of-day close back above that 50-day moving average, the blue line there, to take us up to 83.70 again. Moving on to the DAX, and presumably this is not going to be any better either. You can see the bull trap double top there that we've had. We're back below the top of the latest gap there, 18,800, and below that looking for the floor of the channel, and the 50-day moving average at 18,300. The only positive here, or the positive here compared to the FTSE, is that the RSI is still at 55, so a chance of a rebound from current levels if we are lucky. Moving on to the Dow, which obviously we looked at yesterday and hasn't changed overnight. Here you can see that still looking for the top of that rising trend channel from this time last year, around 43,000. Initial support here around 41,500, otherwise it's back down to the 50-day line area at 40,600. RSI at 66, so we didn't get overbought, which is handy, and maybe there's a chance of finding support 41,500 or above. Moving on to Bitcoin, which has us on the edge of our seats to see whether we can get a recovery, break out of that falling trend channel we've had since, well, basically for the last 6 months. 68,000 the level to beat, and the good news is that we start the week above the 200-day line, 64,000, and that's for the first time in nearly a month, and looking for that to be broken on an end-of-day close basis. Otherwise, we have the risk of a retest of the 50-day line, 59,400, before we can finally snap that 6-month consolidation that we have had. Moving on to gold, and here the star of the show by quite some distance. Here looking for this market to head up to the top of that rising trend channel from December, roughly around 26.90. Looking for that by almost as soon as the end of this month. Maybe that's pushing it, but certainly while we're above 26.20, the initial September resistance, the chance of a move towards 2700 cannot be ruled out over the next week or two, maybe going into the first week of October. Moving on to the stocks, and starting off with stock which has been all over the place in the recent past, and it is Adriatic Metals. And here you can see that we've had the shares basically halved from May to August, and then we've got this W-shaped turnaround, finding support near the neckline there around £1.73, and above that on an end-of-day close basis, looking for the top of that falling trend channel from June, up to £2.04 over the next couple of weeks. But this looks like a mid-move consolidation after two unfilled gaps to the upside within that W-shaped formation. So maybe the tide has turned there. Haven't looked at Challenger Energy for a long time, and here it's interesting that we fell out of that rising trend channel from back in October last year, but we've gapped back into it and above the 50-day moving average at 6.4 above that on an end-of-day close basis, also the area of the 200-day line. We're looking for up to 9.5 by the end of next month. If you look closely, you'll see that the 200-day line is rising. That implies that the next time these two lines cross, there'll be a golden cross, and that's typically the strongest part of the cycle. So Challenger all of a sudden looking rather exciting on a charting basis. Moving on to electric guitar, where there may be the first signs of a turnaround, and the reason for saying that, apart from today's RNS, is the gap off the low. We've also got an uptrend line in the RSI window as well, but obviously we've had many false dawns here. We probably had one a month really, or at least one in June, one in July, and then one earlier this month. The key here, I suppose, is really having sustained price action back above the 50-day moving average, which is up at 0.69. And only then can we say it's safe to come out and look for a target up to 0.93, which was the late July resistance and the old June support area. But at least we want to have no new lows and stay above 0.6 there on a mid-price basis. One of the stocks from yesterday's weekend Bulletin Board Heroes was Global Petroleum. Very chuffed about that. We're just about to go into a golden cross there. Our initial target there, 0.14, which we narrowly missed last week, and looking for 0.21, hopefully by the end of this week, which is the upper parallel of that broadening triangle from the beginning of the year. If we can get that, it would be quite a coup. Moving along to Geiger counter, which I haven't looked at for ages. Here we've got a W-shaped turnaround, a bit like Adriatic, and what we're looking for here is sustained price action above the middle of the W there at 44 pence. The initial target then would be 48, but really looking for the big prize up to 60 pence in the top of that broadening triangle from January by the end of next month. Ideally, no price action back below the 50-day line at just under 43 pence. Hemogenyx is next, and here something looks like it's going on. Might just be a fundraise, but if it's not that, then we're looking quite strong from a technical perspective. Bounced above the old neckline resistance there at 1.4 pence, and looking for not only a retest of this month's peak at 1 3/4, but actually as high as 2 pence by the end of next month. Obviously, fundraisers permitting. RSI rebound above neutral 50 is encouraging, and an end-of-day close above the top gap there at 1.55 would be a boost from a technical perspective. On to Mkango, and here see the shares trying to rise or bounce off the floor of a rising trend channel. That's the black rising trend channel there from back in February. Top of the channel there at 9 3/4 pence. Initial target here around 7 pence in the 200-day line. But we've got a rising 50-day line near the low, and we bounced above the floor of the gap there at 4 pence. So this does look reasonably encouraging, in fact, very encouraging from a technical perspective. And as I said, 9 or 10 pence by the end of next month look to be on the cards while we hold above recent swing low at 5 pence. Next up is a stock which has been the gift that's kept on giving here. Mobile Streams, no fundraise means the shares have gone through the roof, and we were looking for 0.19 to be hit by the after 0.12 was hit, and we've just missed that by a fraction. Hopefully we'll get to 0.19 by the end of the day, or maybe tomorrow, and then we can look for a greater level to shoot for. At this stage, quite difficult to work out what that might be, given that we've come up so far so quickly. But if you look back, you can see that the last resistance area was in the low 30s. So perhaps after 0.19, we can look at 0.32, which was basically 2022 resistance, the heady days of the shares back then. Key here is remaining above the old peak there from back in October around 0.12. Moving on to a stock which was also a winner, become a winner from yesterday's Bulletin Board Heroes. And here we've got Sovereign Metals, overdue I would say, but rising trend channel there from back in February, top of the channel there at 42 pence, looking for that over the next couple of weeks after the two gaps down and the bear trap island reversal, so gapping down twice and then gapping up twice. So looks as though finally Sovereign is on its way and deserves, I think, much more with the Rio factor. If you're a fan of the shares and looking for greater glories, then probably the line I'm about to draw now, the upper parallel of that rising trend channel heading for 55p would be the target, perhaps as soon as the end of next month, although obviously it's been rather slow progress to date. Moving on to a stock which has had a very strong rising trend channel, and that's been Synectics. Here you can see that we basically managed to hit the top of the rising trend channel there from back in November, and exceeding it at the moment. In fact, the level there around £2.64. Above that on an end of day close basis, looking for £3.40 as soon as the end of next month. Looks very strong indeed with the the bull trap gap higher and a break of the top of the bull flag there at £2.55. So a very strong situation there. Hopefully £3.40 by the end of next month. Looks as though something good is happening there. On to Upland, where people are hoping that something is good. Something good is happening here as well. But here you can see that just the first signs of an inverted head and shoulders there. So the right-hand shoulder just need to break the neckline there at 1.43. That's the initial target there. After that, then looking for the old resistance line from back in December, which is currently heading towards 1.7 pence. But the key here is staying above recent support around 1.13. On to the AX market. Somebody else got to look at it, and it looks like it's going to be me. Here you can see that Valereum looks as though it's in a mid-move consolidation. The initial target, well, the second target here up to 8.25 pence. Above that, looking for as high as 12 pence by the end of next month, which would obviously be quite a coup, but nice setup there on Valereum after quite a long time in the wilderness. Another stock from yesterday, which is doing rather well, is Wildcat, and here it should do well in the sense that we were looking for an end-of-day close above 0.21, the old April gap. Above that, we suggested that we could get up to the top of the range, 0.36, and the top of that rising trend channel. The added sizzle here is the way that 50 and 200-day lines are both rising, and as you can see, we've had blue days, or at least blue and neutral days, every day for the last week. So in the run-up to a golden cross there, probably a couple of weeks away from that, and looking to retest the best levels of the year to date. Finishing off with a different type of company, Warpaint, and here the picture is of a gap higher, and that's after, I think, the recent results. 50-day line there at £5.77, let's call it, and above that, looking for the shares to retest the best levels of the year, as high as £6.45. The top of the channel there, actually, up to £7 plus, but maybe you don't want to get too excited too soon. The other point to note is that the RSI has pushed through neutral 50 properly for the first time since the beginning of last month, and maybe that explains the gap higher as well. Only back below the £5.20 area now delays the upside scenario. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.